Welcome to Next Chapter Conversations with your host, Drew Cause. Every life has defining moments. Moments that challenge us, change us, and ultimately shape who we become. On this show, you'll hear honest conversations with people who've embraced change, overcome obstacles, and step boldly into their next chapter. Whether you're looking for hope, fresh perspective, or the courage to begin again, you're in the right place. This is Next Chapter Conversations.
Hey guys, we got a special guest today, someone who I've known for a couple of years. She is probably one of the most underrated, I would say, people out here. And she has a lot of information to share, but something that I really want to hone in on today for the audience, for my audience, and her audience is why does she love so hard in an unlovable world? And when we dig into that, I want you guys to grab a notebook. I want you guys to just sit and learn and feel free to drop questions in the comments. So, Crystal, welcome to the show.
Hey, brother, how you feeling? First of all, how are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm so glad that we have a chance to get this going.
Because we've been trying to
Crystal
do
is
it for
someone,
a
like I
while
said,
now, right?
yeah, yeah. The time works. The time works when it works. But Crystal, tell the audience that for those who don't know you, who are new to you, just tell us a little bit about. Um, let's actually start here. Tell a little bit about why you do what you do.
I feel like I do what I do because it's just who I am. And I spent a lot of time navigating through what that meant for me. And in the beginning, it was
Mm,
what it meant from everybody else's lenses without me even really realizing that that's what I was doing. Because you don't, you're growing up, you're a kid and you're learning. And it's stages of this that I don't think that I really knew what was going on. And I had to get a comfortable level with that's okay. You're not supposed to know
mm,
what's going on. You're supposed to be learning. You're supposed to be evolving. And trauma comes into your life and it can weigh you down. And I know that's what happened with me. With certain things in place, when people have trauma, they respond differently. And it's according to so many different rules of law, science, and physics. It's math involved in it. I found love in math. I found love in science and art. It's the same story being told by different creators. And I just feel like we're all creators that don't know. Like, I don't know that I'm a creator, but what have you created? What have you produced? Like, what are you doing? How do you feel? And all of those things just start coming into play with me. And what I do is help people kind of see what else they can do. What other gifts do they have? How can they release some of that stagnant energy inside of their body that's preventing them from seeing who they really are, or even making an attempt at doing something. Like, even this is something that would have made me uncomfortable in a certain part of my life. I learned and I moved and I breathed life into these things. Like, I'm not uncomfortable. Why would you be uncomfortable talking about yourself and something you love? Or like, so it takes time and grace with yourself and learning what loving yourself really truly means, because it's going to look completely different to somebody else all the time.
you said you said grace with yourself. What does that look like for? I say first, what does that look like for a black woman?
Oh, it's a tough space because I know as a black woman that my trauma has layers and layers. And so you keep digging and you think you've gotten to this point, and then boom, it's something else, right? And then boom, it's something else. And that's what was happening. But these attacks, through studying audio, really helped me. That's compression, that's pressure. That's no different than a pressure washer, no different than a torque spec wrench or something like that. Anything that can hold pressure, including you. We hold pressure. And I started learning about the elements a little bit deeper, and then releasing how deep it has to be, because air is air, man. It's everywhere. And if that's my element, then that's something that I'm going to resonate with naturally. It helped me to break things down into its simplest forms instead of allowing the trauma and the emotion behind it to be so heavy that it affected my movements. And those movements went beyond the mat. Me being a yogi it allowed me the time and space to open up that part of my mind to even get to these conclusions, to reach out to. I went to Optimal State for yoga therapy school, and it allowed me to write, a essay to get me into that program that would put me in a room with people that had no idea the type of story in the life I had. They never met a yogi who brother been murdered in the streets twice. This happened to me 2 times. This was another layer of trauma, sexual assault, being in those rooms with women who've been into different situations and saying you can heal. They really don't believe that. Bro, you've been in these rooms. They don't believe that.
Yeah.
Women get angry when you tell them that they don't have to hold this anymore. So as a black woman, I'm telling you, you don't have to hold
Mhm.
this. There's space to release, and there's techniques and there's tools. I'm a mechanic, and they say women shouldn't have done that, right? I'm one of the best mechanics the Army ever had, and any man that worked with me would tell you that I was the only black woman in my unit the entire time that I was there. The only one. And the only woman until right before I got out. They brought one, and she didn't know anything about mechanics. So through my time in service, I never saw me. And so now in my neighborhood, that's what I am to these kids. I'm like, you have to pivot. And these tools, whatever you're going through, is going to require a different tool at a different time. Sound might not work for me that day. That frequency might be really getting on my nerves. That artist might say something that triggered something that went too far down for me. So what tool do I need to bring myself up? Maybe I need to breathe. Maybe I need to go to the sauna. Maybe I need to work this out at the gym. Maybe I need a good yoga flow. I have music. Maybe I'm going to play some chords or read. There's books everywhere. If you look, let's paint. But what we not going to do is nothing. Because that's how the energy gets stagnant inside of you. And now you looking at your partner, you looking at your kids, you looking at your neighbors, and everything is exploding. So
Mm. Something that I hear when you say that, um, you mentioned the layers of trauma. You mentioned oftentimes when we're in spaces, we can come across people who don't look like us, so they don't expect us to maybe heal the same way. But you said this, you said you don't have to hold on to, like the trauma and things like that. How have you dealt with like the layers? Like one layer is like, all right, I'm better, I got past this, and then just to come another year later, another layer is there. How do you personally deal with like layers of trauma?
I personally
Or
keep,
have you, or how
yes,
have you?
absolutely, because my brother's death was a huge trauma to me, but I realized it wasn't my first one. Like, as bad as it hurt, I had to keep digging. It took me 15 years to get to the point of forgiveness of the person that took his life. And then you know
Wow.
what helped me? I dug deep into why he did that. And they'll tell you, like, don't do that. Like, don't dig into your past. That's because they don't want you to get no higher into your future. Of those people that say that,
Mm,
they want to keep you at a certain level. That's that superiority thing. Of course, I don't want you to see that forgiveness is key. Of course, I want you to stay stuck in this place because you'll stay dependent on me. You'll stay dependent on my food. You'll stay dependent on working a 9 to 5 for me.
wow.
You'll stay dependent on me because you feel like you need me. And that's a mentality thing that I've been working on breaking away from. But as I dug deeper into that forgiveness, I realized that man killed my brother, shot him 16 times over road rage.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and I had the whole time I just my brother gone, my brother gone. That was it. My mind was firing off, but that's how we respond to trauma. So I was in that mode. That's like no different than a game mode, right? We paying our kids pay attention to that, but
Yeah.
that's how my brain was. And for 15 years, when I looked up and I was in a meditation, I was still. I was just still, and I opened my eyes and I saw this like silhouette of a shadow. And this was deep breath work. Now, like mind you, this is very euphoric. Now that you're getting deep and you pulling your belly button in, and it's almost like your whole spine starts to crack straight. Your head starts, your body is positioning itself the way it wants to go because you're not really with it anymore. You're in deep breath work, and it was like a shoulder shrug type of thing with the silhouette, and it just made me feel like he's okay, and that forgiveness had taken place between these three spirits who aren't even in contact with each other. That man's in prison for the rest of his life. My brother is gone and I'm here. Had I not done that type of work on that path though, I wouldn't have got that level of release. So as I dug, I'm telling you, as soon as I found out in my spirit that this was road rage, everything changed. And so that's
Mm.
another reason why I help people. I may not be able to get to help my brother, right? He's gone. I can help the next mind of the person that will respond that way to trauma. They almost ran into each other from he ran a yield sign and the other guy's car broke down because of that and he was so angry that he ran over to the car. They start arguing. Weapons get involved. He follows my brother. Like all this stuff just,
My gosh.
and when you look at it, it's just how you respond to trauma. He was probably broke. How he gonna fix this car? He got kids, anything, right? To even come to a level of understanding with that and have grace for somebody that took something so big from you.
Mm.
Man, what
Mm-mm.
the healing is endless at that point. I can forgive for anything. I might not walk with you the same way. I'm not supposed to. We have to rebuild, just like I told you about the flood. You have to rebuild or don't. It's always your choice though. And I just started making choices that was best for me.
That's powerful because we usually see forgiveness as something that the other person has to earn
Mm-mm.
versus if I don't do this, I'm gonna be messing up myself in the long run. But I can't lie, that's a big pill to swallow to say, hey, you did this to my family member when you really didn't have to, no matter what the circumstances, but you choose to forgive. So how do you show other people in the culture to do the same? We had mentioned before the call that where your neighborhood is at, you can see things happen and you want to be that light. How do you do that?
I listen. I listen. And through studying audio, I went to the Art Institute in Houston, and I remember taking a class with this guy, Dr. Nishikawa, and he was adamant about listening and breaking down what instruments were at certain places on the key signature. Like this is very intense listening, and I had no idea how it would evolve going into healing and yoga and just being a good human being. Most people are not listening to you. They heard you, but they're not listening, and their response is usually something self um, led. So I had to start becoming more aware that as I transition into, okay, now I have these tools. You get excited. You want to help everybody because you like, man, y'all know what I've been through. Like y'all been there through the struggle. So right, everybody is in their own spaces. So they may or may not know. I had cousins that was like, I didn't even know you were in the military. I'm like, what? That's crazy to me that they're at my welcome home party and didn't know I was in the military. It's unaware. So active listening is very, very important, and actively listening to yourself. That's something that we as a people don't do enough of because we got all these distractions. We have
Mhm.
and I mean, I'm not saying that other people of other races don't have distractions. They do, their distractions are just a little bit different, and I think the support plays a big role in you being able to overcome distractions different. So that's another thing in our culture where it's like, okay, there are things missing in this household or there's things missing at this school, and that's
Yep, yep.
environment. So I want to help change our kids' environment, their views on themselves. So that's why I walk the way I walk. Like, bro, I was assaulted down the street from my house when I was 12 years old. And
Wow.
I wore a tennis skirt that day and I never wore a tennis skirt again. So me going, you
Wow.
saw my post from the Kaylani concert, right? That was my
Yep.
first time wearing a tennis skirt since then. So this is 12. I'm 44.
Wow.
Yeah, these kids, I didn't hide that story. I told all these kids in the neighborhood that story because it connects. This man pulling his, things out on the church steps. That's relevant information to our community. Like, we all have to be involved in the communication of how we want to see this neighborhood go. I don't want little girls walking home from school getting hit in their head and drug into alleys. I don't want our men feeling like our women are verbally abusing them. So even when these guys, these were my friends, these are guys I grew up with, have flipped on me with me being in this tennis skirt, right? Now, mind you, this is the store that I ran into when this assault happened. I'm not running from the trauma. People will leave that space.
Wow.
And I did. I left and came back, but I went and got trained. I went and got trained on how to defend myself. I went and got trained on
Wow.
how to move smarter. It's a choice to stay stuck in trauma, and more trauma is gonna come. More trauma came after that. Duh. I went to the army as
Mm,
a black woman. You know it's gonna be trauma, right? You can't run from it though. So when you
mm.
ask like how I get through it, I just keep digging. And even when I feel like this, I'm in a good space, I don't just sit in that good space. I dig a little bit deeper. I just lean a little bit more and see what else comes up. And then I deal with it accordingly. And it stopped coming up as heavy eventually.
You go you put a post up about you wearing a tennis skirt at 44 now. You were assaulted at 12. Um, I knew of it because we had spoken in person some years ago. But for people who don't see the people, I don't know a lot of people who can get assaulted and actually heal.
Yeah.
I would love for that to happen for anyone who that has happened to. But this journey of healing, how do you not blame the world?
Because I'm not of this world to even blame it. This world is what it is. It was made how it was going to be. I'm just a spirit here temporarily. And that's how I truly feel about it. I'm not disconnected from my body, but I can disconnect from my body. So it's like these people on this earth are very connected to body. That body look good. Ooh, she got that. They let things fly out of their mouth without control because they have no control. They don't control their breath. They're not thinking about these things. I have no expectations of you. The only thing that I can do is defend myself. So I'm very grace. Again, I allow myself grace. I allow for grace from other people for a couple of reasons. One, I know I'm dangerous at this point. I made myself that way. So it's even with that. So women, um, learn some things about defending yourself. Don't stick into spaces where you feel uncomfortable for too long because you're going to get
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
yeah.
You got to know how to move out of it though. So that's what started happening. The army teach you how to flank or go around, right? So you go around to the side of the thing, and I just start hitting things. Even with cancer, they're attacking things from different angles. Like microphones, they pick up omnidirectional. Like this is a full circle thing. All these things are connected inside of me, and they mean something. And I feel like they're connected inside of every single spirit in this human body. But because we don't
Mhm.
disconnect, we don't understand the difference. We put it all into one thing, my mind and my body together. And yeah, but no. You know what I'm saying? It's when you can disconnect this whole thing, some real revelations come out, some real reflections start to happen. And you find the tools find you. It becomes like walking through Home Depot and ooh, what can I create? Because we are creators. Like I said, all of
Yeah,
us, we're
yeah.
made by a creator. Like this is in your DNA, no matter what color you are, no matter where you're from, like you were here to create something. So what is it?
Mm.
And that's what I get into with whoever I'm helping. It gets deep. Sometimes I might have to run to you because you're having a mental situation. But who better to have that? I'm not a like psychotherapist or anything, but I've dealt with trauma on some pretty high levels, so I can do that. I know where it went and stored in your body. So let's release that tension. Am I a massage therapist? No, that's not something I don't want you. I don't want to do all of that. but I do want to help you move your energy around. If you're not able to, I'll help assist you in that. If then that's too much, we got another tool. Nobody can run from any healing with me. Whatever excuse, and I'm telling you, they hit me with everything. Oh well, I can't breathe today. I got my asthma acting up. I mean, I've heard it all, bro. I swear, it's all sorts of things, and I'm just like, okay, well then let's go for a walk. Let's bring it down. Let's read. Like, let's. Did you get the bolster? Okay, well here's the chiropractor's number. Did you call him? I have in this big toolbox. I got a tool for everything, and I'm still gonna keep
Mm.
finding more as I work with different people. Yeah, they're gonna
So you
tell
go
me.
from you go from, which is amazing. You go from, and I want people to understand um more about you. You go from things have happened to me, I've gotten insulted. I can't, you said this, which was powerful. You said it's a choice to stay stuck in your trauma. You go from, hey, I'm not gonna be stuck in this forever. I'm gonna move forward. What do you think is happening where, let's say uh you meet someone that's younger, some assault or something has happened to them that has caused some trauma. How do you start to talk to them where they don't feel that it's being dismissed? Like what happened is being dismissed.
I think the connection is always really natural, especially with kids that I've worked with. Um, Through yoga classes, I speak. So my yoga class is not your typical asana, and that's it. It's very personal. So whatever spirit tell me to say, I can't go into any, or I don't go into any yoga class with an expectation of what I'm gonna say. Like I'm in class in school. They have scripts and people are reading off their phone. They got a quote from a book. I feel like this comes from a different space with me, just on my own personal upbringing, and with the work that I'm doing for the community, it has to. So when I speak to them, I never go right into how I connect, with that. I feel like it's all over anyway. If you've taken a class with me, I probably told you something about my trauma. But if it's brand new and you've never met me before, I wait. I wait, bro. I wait for that again, the active listening. They started telling me,
Active listening.
yes, it's a little girl had a rest in peace shirt on. Her brother had been murdered. And I thought about that,
Mhm.
like, that's our connection right there. And she doesn't know that. It took the whole summer of that program for us to connect and for me to tell her that. And she hugged me like now she feel like somebody understands. And I wasn't her age either. She's young, so now she understands that. Oh, that's what trauma is. They don't even understand what the word means. So how can you
We're
work
never
on
taught
it?
it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How can you? If I'm not.
We're never taught it.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not even relating this with trauma. I'm not relating. My father being arrested in front of me is not trauma to me. That's everybody's dad gets arrested around here. So how do I
Mhm.
respond to something that I don't even know is existent? Now we teaching them that young and teaching them how to be still. I have so many kids. I just took a car full of kids to Big Sean's event this weekend. And what I didn't know was,
Nice.
yes, it was nice until I found out that they had started this fight with another girl. I walked in on this from a yoga class.
Oh,
I stopped it. All these adults were around. I'm going to send you the video. You can put it in here. All the
mhm.
adults were around egging this fight on. All the kids that I took to this event were egging this fight on. But when I got to them, everybody stopped. That part of the video they didn't have, and I was like, oh no, I just came from yoga. Everybody needs to take a breath. You take a breath. I went into yoga teacher mode instantly, and that's why, like, my yoga teacher Lisa, she always say, everybody should go to yoga teacher training. And I think so. Like, even if you never teach a yoga class, like, you'll learn how to breathe, because these situations, again, how are you reacting? If this person was
How are you reacting?
if she was able to drive, if she wasn't 12 years old and she got in that car that angry and crashed into somebody, that's a response to what was happening to her traumatically. No different than what happened to my brother. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So we have to be able to get to them young, 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 and teach them about taking a breath, before you make a step. That's where yoga come in. I'm gonna take a breath as I make this movement, so I realize that my movement is attached to it, and as that flow comes, I release, and that feels good. The little girl talked. The girl that it was a bad fight. It's probably one of the worst fights I've seen. I want to get her
Oh my
into some
gosh.
organized fighting. I said, you're going to hurt yourself. Like, you're going to hurt this girl. Like, y'all should have had gloves on. Could we talk this out? There's 4 or 5 tools right there. One of them sings. So we could have came down here in the studio and wrote a diss track about it. That's safe. You know, I can find a tool. It doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't
Mm.
matter what's going on with you. Like, there's no excuse to be a bad human being besides you're traumatized and you're not digging into that trauma.
Wow. There is no excuse to be a bad human being. I want to take this question because it hits. You said, how do you respond to trauma when it's your environment? So I didn't grow up in a good area either. So like you said, you start seeing shootings, you start seeing arrests, you start to see that to be so normal that you think this is the norm
Mm-hmm.
until you realize, no, this is just trauma in your environment. So what do you do? What do you do either with adults or kids that helps them see a different environment, or do they just learn how to have tools in the environment that they're in?
Well, I teach them that the biggest tool is their mind. So, you know, the environment that you can go to in your brain is endless. If you see a picture of something, capturing it with your eyes is like your blinking. I teach them that their eyes is like the shutter on your camera. You taking a picture every time you're blinking. So look at something, focus on it, take a breath with intention, and remember it. And I learned that in a push-up position in basic training, literally in the front leaning rest, everybody yelling around me. If I go down, everybody's in trouble. That's a lot of pressure on you, right? Like everybody got to stay up. And it was for a long time. And then I just saw a beach. It was like the purplish, pinkish beach. And then it felt like none of that weight was on me anymore. Like I could have stayed in that push up for years probably. Like it just felt like the energy was endless. I saw that very beach. It took maybe 10 years, but that's what manifesting can do when you're still. So I'm in a push up. I'm not in a comfortable position, but I'm still. And I'm breathing. I have to hold myself up at my core. Now I know these to be my energy channels. I didn't know that then. I didn't know what I was opening up inside of myself because that's not how they were teaching it. Nobody had ever taught me about energy channels and chakras or nothing like that. Yet I felt it inside of me in a very deep way that by the time I had that information and by then I'm going to LA and all I said was, Spirit, I want to paint. That's it. I was like, I want to learn how to paint. And the next thing I knew, I was in LA painting walls, like on sets.
Wow.
Yeah, like big TV shows, like Housewives, and I'm looking like, so ask for it. Like, are you really asking for it, or are you like pretending to ask? Are you telling other people and not really sitting with it yourself? And those are, I just believe we can do anything. I don't think that that's
Yeah.
a plaything.
Yeah.
Like I think that if I can learn how to be a mechanic when I didn't even know what a ratchet was, I was sitting in AIT swirling the ratchet in my ear, talking about this could be like a percussion thing. Those are things that I do both now. I was 22. So just, I want to help kids be able to understand that a little earlier. I didn't have a Miss Crystal. That's what I feel like. I'm like, so my light, whether I'm going to the corner store, whether I'm going to the gas station, I don't really eat Coney Island like that no more, but I still go out there and hang out. I know everybody in my neighborhood. If I took the
Wow.
phone with me right now and didn't say a word, people would tell you about me. And that, I think that's the beautiful part of healing, because if I hadn't, they would see something different when I walked around here. This same neighborhood that I was attacked in, I walk around with free. Like I don't feel any of that anymore. I went to that spot.
Wow.
Yeah, I lit sage. I forgave that
Wow.
person. The whole man, the what's her name? Mariska Hargitay. I might be really butchering her name, but Olivia Benson. Olivia Benson. Shout out to Olivia. She put up the money to have our rape kits tested. That was the whole thing in Detroit with how we even got involved with a lot of sexual assault, domestic violence. So I had no
Oh,
idea who attacked me for 20 years, but because of her money, I found out who it was. I got closure. So this is real life things that happened as soon as I moved back to Detroit. They called me on my job to tell me this. Yes. So again, more trauma, and so I had to
what in the
revisit.
world?
I had to revisit that, and I'm back in this neighborhood. My mother had lost her vision. It was so many things happening. So I empathize with myself, and I hold grace and space for everybody. It's not gonna be easy. It's
Not gonna
not.
be easy.
It's not gonna be easy.
That's
But you can go
it.
to Harbor Freight and get cheap tools, or you can invest in tools that's gonna, at least get you mid range, or you can go all out. If you have the finances, if you're rooted and grounded, then spend money on your healing. Spend money on things that are gonna make you happy. Learn how to use the tools. Don't buy the cheap tools. And that's how I looked at it as a mechanic. I'm not gonna use the same wrench for my lug nuts as I am for my visor. It's gonna be two different things that I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
use, right? Yeah.
yeah.
So I just
I
pull.
like
I
I,
keep pulling, baby.
I like the whole analogy of the toolbox. Something you said that I think anybody can get something from is you're gonna have to invest in your healing. And this is one part, I'm not gonna go on a rant. This is one part I do hate about social media is they make healing look so beautiful and gentle. And
Uh-uh.
I
Uh-uh.
I'm like it's if we start to look at it as being beautiful and gentle, as soon as you have it come up and it stirs you the wrong way, you're gonna think something's wrong with you
Mm-hmm.
versus thinking like, hey, it's coming up so that you can deal with it. But you um you said we have to have the tools, and you made an analogy of the cheaper tools, the more expensive tools. What's one tool someone can use, let's say, who doesn't have access to a therapist, or they don't have access to a Miss Crystal, or that maybe they don't have access to a Drew? I am not a licensed therapist at all. I do not seek to be one
For
at
real.
all either. But
Mm-mm.
but for if they don't have access to someone, what's one tool that they can start using?
I would say sound is a great way. Like I would start with YouTube is free. I would start playing sound baths or even certain frequencies. And if it's upsetting you and disrupting you, probably looking into deeper on what note that is, what key that is in, because even that's a connection into your energy channels. So,
Mm,
and if you don't have access to a phone or anything like that, there's always your own throat you can hum. You can whistle to calm yourself down, and different things that I think they kind of say is a nervous condition thing. Well, if it's a nervous condition, maybe that's just the way you're looking at it. Because whistling helps the breath, so it's not. It's always a duality to everything.
yeah,
It's always a
yeah,
different side, and then there's the ground. Even when you're looking in the wall, you plug your devices in. There's a positive, there's a negative, there's a ground. So always finding your way to the ground is gonna be an essential thing, or else what happened? Power go everywhere. If it's not grounded, it catches fire, right? Like it starts to spread. And when
mm-hmm,
I deal with people, that's just how I look at them now. Like, oh yeah, you're fire, cool. I know that you can either spread or you can be comforting to me. You can provide nourishment and warmth on a cold day, right? Or you can just go
yeah,
and tear some stuff up. And that's all. Everything attached to that is personal, is emotional. Like how are you responding emotionally is based off of how you dealing with that. And so the breath is
mm,
always the breath, that's free. And I for the life of me can't understand why I've had to argue with so many people about learning to breathe properly. That's probably the most argued thing I've had. And I'm like, you don't want to breathe? Well, that's suicidal, isn't
I think I
it?
yeah, I think I know why. Maybe not fully, but I think I realize why people argue with breathing is because anything that forces you to slow down can be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And in your head, because you automatically, you know, subconsciously that if I have to slow down, I'm gonna have to confront something
Yeah,
probably,
and I didn't like what I
or
saw
something
then. That's that. So for
Mhm.
me personally, that's I don't know if that's what everybody else is doing. I speak on myself. I didn't like what I saw. I didn't like decisions I made. Like so, if you're doing things based off of trauma and you're running straight to it, when I found out that the liver hold anger, it made sense. You know, all of that toxic waste that's producing through there, right? Most people angry at the bar. Most people that drink have cirrhosis of the liver.
Yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
all go so that's the mechanic in me troubleshooting energy. It's pretty simple. We make it complicated with our trauma. But if we took that and just sat it to the side for just a second, you could just sit it to the side for a second and then take this breath, right? And then as it come back up, make a conscious choice to go back to that breath. I'm talking on the mat now, but eventually that starts to translate off of the mat. It's like I feel that same tightness in my shoulder when I'm around this person. So let me take a deep breath because I've worked on that, and I don't want to keep hurting. We don't have to keep suffering. Like suffering is
yeah,
optional. It's
yeah,
optional.
yeah. I like that. Wow. So guys, as we land the plane, I'm gonna pull Crystal's card because I've wanted Crystal to have a podcast for a while, and I always somehow get to say, Crystal, like, you should have a podcast or you should be doing this on social media because I always believe she has a lot not to just share, but she has. This is what I've learned from her, the few days that I've seen her in person and then online, is she has a heart not to just hold space, but hold space without judgment. And let me clear this up so it makes sense. I'm a black man. I've rarely had people hold space for me. It's always judgment, or it's always they think I'm dangerous because I have tattoos and I used to have locks, or it's uh, he doesn't deserve it. And all of those things are not right. But I've seen her just and seen her react with people when I saw her in person for a couple of days and just online. And I just want her to share that more because I don't believe social media is a bad tool. I just believe how you use it can be bad. Same thing as anything in a toolbox. But I believe that if more people heard about her stories, how she helps, how she holds space, I believe it can start putting a dent into all of this chaos that's happening with our young kids, with our black women, with our black men. And we can start to see that, we could be working together
Yes.
and
Yes.
and doing something so powerful instead of letting trauma and letting our environments tell us that we need to be on the guard, that we need to be attacking, that we need to always move in silence.
Mm,
And I
mm,
think those
mm.
things stop us from really collaborating. So I'm always on Crystal for those reasons. It's
Yes.
always you should,
He
and
is. That's
and
the
she had.
truth.
I was like, I'm not gonna let up on her
No,
because
and you
I
shouldn't.
believe
You
it's
shouldn't. You should not let up on me on that. That is a me thing because I want to, and I really, really think that is needed. And I operate
hmm
from because I am love. I feel like
hmm
I'm not just loved, and I don't just give love but I'm love and I don't know any other way to be. Even when I've been hurt, like I've been at my lowest, I've still learned how to love through. And so love is just an important thing to me. It's authentic and I see it. It's almost like walking through life seeing in color people. And when I see that color, like I see their body, I see it the way they're holding things. I listen to their pain when they telling me something, even if they're not. Their speech is slurred, like their eyes are dilated. This is so many little things, and I'm like, I love you. Like I love so many strangers a day. I don't even know how many. Anyone I come
hmm
into contact with, even the ones that I know have hated me. I've had homeless people not want to take money from me because I was black in Texas. Like was like, get out of my face. Like I was like, oh, but I love you anyway. Have a great day. You know, I want to be the change that I want to see. And if you see that, I mean, it's not up to me to change you, but you're not going to change me. And that's what happens. That
Yeah.
energy, as soon as that person hits you with whatever, like the kids, my mama, they was talking about my mama. Okay. Well, I know that's not true about my mama. It took me a long time to get there, right? But I didn't have anybody show me that either. So if they had
Yeah.
showed it to me
Yeah.
earlier, then maybe my decision would have been different. But like the other adults, they were standing there egging it on because they traumatized too. And they haven't found
And
a
haven't
way
dealt with,
to.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what it is, bro. And
Yeah.
you're right. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I mean, you've been the most consistent, and honestly, every day I think about it, and I'm like, I think I get in
Oh,
my
thank you.
head with, well, what am I gonna do? Well, what do I want the name of it to be? Well, what about the look? And none of that even matters. Like, back to the Kaylani
No.
concert. Shout out to Kaylani. Hard work. I had never been to her concert, but I watched her journey of healing, which was why I paid that money to see her. It's about a tool for me. Remember the skirt, the healing. She's
Yep.
authentically who she is. And that worked in the highest level. She done won the highest level that you can earn in music, right?
Mhm.
Because she stayed true to herself. She going to places and looking for yoga places like saunas. She look. I'm not. Y'all not gonna wear me out on this tour, but I'm gonna give you all I have, and that's what I'm doing. Y'all not gonna wear me out with this healing. Y'all not gonna. But I'm gonna give you all that I have because really I'm pouring from my reservoir. I'm not pouring. You know how people say that pour from your cup. Don't pour. I'm not pouring from
Yeah.
my cup at all. This cup's my cup. I'm pouring from it. But everything on a truck, a car, something, it has somewhere where it holds the fluid. It's a reservoir. So I
Mm.
hold it over there. That's how I'm able to do this. So that's just bringing that answer back around too.
That's
My cup
beautiful.
is full. Pour from your reservoir. Really
Mhm.
pour from that. Keep filling that up. Keep filling that up. Keep maintaining your cup at its level. Because that's all it is. That's going to change. It's going to change. People going to
Mhm.
require things from you. How much energy are you really willing to give? And are you giving it from the right space? Most people don't even know what element they
Yeah.
are. Or they get mad because they're like, I'm in the church. I don't do none of that. I'm like, so when you turn on the news and check the weather, you don't believe that it's gonna rain. Like that's just heat mixing with the air. That's right. So it's compressing and drop. That's what's happening
Mhm.
with these people. If you like, whether you call it
Mhm.
cancer or water, it's still the same thing. It's still moving the same way. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's a conversation for another day.
We'll get you back on the podcast for that one. Something
Absolutely.
I want to end. I want to end with this because I think it serves. I think it serves in two places. The chase of perfection can usually work to your demise. And the reason why I say that is if we wait for the perfect time to heal, it's never going to be perfect time.
Mm-mm.
If we wait for the perfect scenario, it never will happen. And I'm always big on people sharing on social media or podcast for the sake of if I can't get to Crystal, I can hear her through a podcast. Everybody has access to a phone. If I can't get to her, everybody has access now to social media. And I think sometimes I used to be the same way. I don't have the perfect name. I used to get mad because I had big teeth. I have big teeth. I still slur words. And then I just said one day,
Forget it.
what if it's not about being perfect? What if I just show up as whoever I am and let the people who are supposed to gravitate towards me let them gravitate and those who don't. So
Thank you, bro. Thank
I want Crystal
you.
to have a
I
podcast
needed that.
and all of that.
I needed that. It came into me so deep, like, and all I could think about was that's the name of it though, the real heal. Like that, like spelt like
Mm,
that, HEAL. It plays on my last name. Like that's what's. I have everything that I need to do what I need to do, and it's been set up like
mhm.
that, and that's what I teach everybody else. So, this is honestly just me getting in front of a camera every day and talking. I have microphones. I have so
I'm like,
much
Crystal,
stuff.
Crystal has all the equipment.
I literally do. This is what I do. And like again, I do that for others. So with those stories in my life, it's been easier to speak about it with my clients, with people I'm coming into contact with. I've never been the one that was on the other side of the camera. I've always been behind the camera. So I have the gimbals
Dang.
and I have all the tools. I mean big ones, small ones. I got stuff in the closet that like from when I first started studying audio, but it's no excuse. It's just it's time, and the real heal is gonna come
It's time.
soon. Honestly, with interviews, I want to do neighborhood people, like the people
Yeah,
that I come in
yeah.
contact with when I go get coffee. So that's
That's the
coming.
real stuff, right? That's the real stuff. So I'll let you guys know when it comes. I'll make sure that I promote it too because I believe in her. I love what she stands for, and I love how she loves people. So, guys, we'll see you on the next show. Crystal, how can they find you if they want to connect with you until you launch your stuff?
Yes, you can catch me on Instagram the most. So the sound yogi on Instagram or on Facebook at Crystal Hill Hill, and then it's Heal after that. So I'm on both of those places, and
Gotcha.
like he said, love. Like I really do love y'all. I don't know you. I've never met some of you. Maybe I have met some of you. Either way, I still love you. If you hurt me, if I hurt you, I'm sorry. Like that's forgiveness. We may not ever talk again. We may have never see each other, have the opportunity to have an exchange of forgiveness, or it might not be necessary cosmically. Either way, it's all love. Like you just it's all love.
Mm,
You just got to keep loving, but first start with loving yourself. So that's all I wanted to say was I love y'all, each and every one of y'all. And the proof of that is service. Always being of service. When
mm.
people are of service, you know they're coming from a place of love.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Next Chapter Conversations. If today's conversations inspired you, encouraged you, or helped you see your own story differently, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who's ready for their next chapter. Until next time, remember, your story isn't over. The best chapters are still waiting to be written. We'll see you in the next conversation.